Alright guys, today we're going to talk about prepper communication or radios. This is going to be the complete guide. So when a crisis hits, being able to talk to your family, group, or even get information from the outside world can be the difference between making smart moves and walking straight into danger. Food, water, shelter, and security are the big four, but communication is what ties all of those together. If you cannot call for help, warn someone, or get updates, you're basically off and blind. That is why radios and communication gear are so important for preppers. In this video, I'm going to try to break down everything you need to know about prepper communications. We will cover the different types of radios, the legal side of things, how far they can actually reach, repeaters, emergency frequencies, what to stockpile, how to keep your gear powered, and how to keep things private so you do not give away your location. By the time you finish this, you should know exactly what kind of radios you need, how to use them, and how to set up a solid communications plan for you and your group. So why does communication matter in a collapse? Information is survival. In normal life, we all have phones, the internet, and power. But when the grid goes down, or if cell networks are overloaded or even intentionally shut off, your only way to reach people will be through radios or in-person runners like the old days. That is exactly why militaries, police, and emergency services all train with radios first. For preppers, communication does a few things. Number one, it lets you check on family members or group members without leaving your safe spot. Number two, it warns you if danger is coming, like looters, patrols, or even weather events. Number three is it allows coordination for defense, scavenging runs, or medical emergencies. Now, number four is it keeps morale up. Being able to hear another friendly voice in a crisis helps keep people going. Let's go over different types of radios for preppers. Now, not all radios are created equal. You need to understand the different categories before you go out and buy something. Each one has its strengths, weaknesses, and some might fit your situation better than others. First, let's go over the basic one. It's FRS radios. These are walkie-talkies you see at Walmart or any other big box stores. They are family radios, no license required, simple to use. The problem is the range. They advertise 20 to 30 miles on the box, but in reality, if you get 1 or 2 miles in the city, you're lucky. Still, they have their place. They're cheap, easy, everyone can use them, and they run on AA or AAA batteries. Great for just talking to your family around your property, even after a collapse scenario. Now let's go over GMRS radios. Now we're stepping up. GMRS radios look similar to walkie-talkies, but they have more power and better range. In Canada, you do not need a license. In the United States, you pay a one-time fee to the FCC, and it covers your whole family. That makes GMRS a very popular choice for preppers. They can hit repeaters, which means your 1 or 2 miles can suddenly jump to 20 or even 50 miles depending on the terrain. Now let's go over ham radios. This is where the real stuff comes in. Ham radios can reach hundreds or even thousands of miles, but the trade-off is you need to pass a test and get a license in most countries. Keep in mind, you don't need a license to listen, but you do need one to communicate. There are courses on this, and some of them last several weeks, but there is an option to self-study for the exam as well. Ham radios are not beginner friendly. You have to learn the frequencies, the etiquette, and how the equipment works. But if you are willing to put in the time, they give you unmatched reach. Plus, there's a whole lot of information on ham radios. There are entire communities on them. There are dozens of YouTube channels. Some of them have hundreds of videos on it, and there are tons of books on them. You can just find them on Amazon. Now let's talk about CB radios. Citizen band radios are old school but still useful, I would say. Truckers have used them forever. They usually reach 2 to 10 miles, no license required, and you can run them in your vehicle as well. They're not as popular anymore, but they are another layer you can add to your kit if you want to. Next is shortwave and emergency radios. Besides talking, you also need to listen. A good emergency radio that can pick up AM, FM, shortwave, and weather alerts is key. Everyone should have one. This lets you monitor news, foreign broadcasts, or local emergency alerts, even if your internet is gone. These are the ones where you could just go on Amazon and type NOAA radio or weatherband radio, and you can usually find them for about 30 to 50 bucks or less. A lot of them have a little solar panel on them, which obviously doesn't charge fast. A lot of them, people think they charge fast, but they don't. You probably have to put them in direct sunlight for at least a few days to get a full charge. They also act as power banks in some cases. You can just plug a USB cable into it, and you can charge your other devices, whether it be a phone, a flashlight, a lantern, or any other USB rechargeable device. I suggest keeping at least 2 of these in case one breaks, and you should have one for home use and one in a bug out bag in case you want to evacuate with it. Keep one in your vehicle as well. They're cheap enough that you can buy a bunch of them and just store them at different places. Okay, let's go over satellite phones. This is something that people are starting to ask me about as well. And again, I usually don't bring this up because I personally don't think it's a good option for the average person or the average prepper, but it's still a very useful tool under the right circumstances. So they come with some catches. Okay, so they connect directly to satellites instead of relying on cell towers, which is great, which means they can work when cellular networks are down. The issue is that they are expensive and they require a subscription. Another thing is that unless the person you want to talk to also has a satellite phone, there's little point in having one. You cannot rely on regular phones if the system is down. So they are powerful tools, but only if both ends of the line are prepared. Okay, now let's talk about powering your radios. A radio is useless if you can't keep it charged, obviously. That's why you need backup power solutions. Stockpile AA and AAA batteries, rechargeable packs, solar powers, hand crank chargers, and maybe even a small solar generator if your budget allows it. Always think about how you will power your gear when the grid is down for weeks or even months. Next, let's go a little bit over encryption, privacy, and OPSEC. One mistake a lot of new preppers make is thinking that their radio chats are private. They are not. Anyone with the same radio type can listen in. That is why you should never give away personal details, addresses, or your exact location over the air. Instead, come up with code words and keep conversations short. Now, the military and police use encrypted radios, but that is not practical or legal for most civilians. Instead, focus on good habits. Keep it simple, stay vague, and never let the enemy know what you are planning. Remember, code words, stick to them. Plan them out, talk them out with your group, and then use those during your communication. Let's talk about building a prepper communications plan. Radios are tools, but without a plan, they do not mean much. Here's what you need to know. First of all, decide what radios each member of your group will carry. Choose backup options in case one type fails. Set daily check-in times, like every morning at 8 a.m. and every evening at 7 p.m. Pick emergency channels everyone can switch to. Have written instructions so even kids or elderly members know how to use the gear. This plan should be tested during drills now. Do not wait until stuff hits the fan to find out half the group cannot even figure out how to turn on or even charge the radio. Let's go over what to stockpile for our communications. Besides the radios themselves, here are the items you should stock up on. First of all, spare batteries and rechargeable packs. Next is solar chargers and crank chargers. Make sure you have antennas and adapters for extending the range. Next, you need waterproof pouches to protect radios from rain, especially if you're bugging out. Then you need a printed frequency list with local repeaters and emergency channels. Next, you need headsets or earpieces for discrete communications. Okay, let's go over the role of repeaters because this is very important information and everyone should know this if they're planning to or already own a radio. Repeaters are basically towers that pick up your weak signal and rebroadcast it stronger and further out. If you are in range of a repeater, your GMRS or ham radio range goes way up. Learn where the repeaters are in your area and have them written down. In an emergency, those repeaters might be the only way to get information or reach distant friends or family members. Now, a big question I get all the time is, what happens if the grid goes down? Do repeaters still work? The honest answer is that many of them will not if they are tied directly into normal power. But here's the part a lot of people do not realize. Some repeaters are owned by individuals or clubs and they set them up with their own backup power like a generator or even a solar system. On top of that, many repeaters in certain cities and states are already designed with emergency power so they can keep running even during blackouts. So while you or I cannot guarantee that every repeater in your area will be up during a long-term grid failure, there is a very good chance at least some will stay online. That is why preppers should never assume radios are useless after a power outage. In fact, ham radio guys have been preparing for exactly that scenario for decades. Let's really quickly touch on training and practice. Owning radios is not enough. You need to practice. Get your group together and run communication drills. Try using code words. Practice sending short, clear messages and test your range in different areas. The more you use your radios before a crisis, the smoother it will be when things actually go bad. Let's quickly go over which radios I would recommend in each category of radio. First, the best FRS radio. FRS radios, remember, are just walkie-talkies. They're the simplest option out there, no license required, and they're perfect for quick and easy communication at close range. The ones I would personally go for are the Motorola T600, which is waterproof and floats if you drop it in water, and the DeWalt DX-FRS 800, which is built tough and shock resistant. Both of these are excellent choices for families, hiking, camping, or short-range emergency use. Next, let's talk about the best GMRS radio. For GMRS radio, I recommend Midland radios. They're some of the most user-friendly options out there, perfect for families or groups who want something that just works without a steep learning curve. They offer clear audio, long battery life, and solid build quality. They also work well with GMRS repeaters, which can greatly extend your range when you need it most. Now let's go over the best ham radio. If you're on a budget, go with the Baofeng UV5R. They're often under 50 bucks. Everyone talks about them. They give you access to VHF and UHF frequencies. They're flexible enough to work with ham repeaters once licensed. They're not fancy, but they'll get the job done in a real emergency, even if you never take the license or the test. Next, let's talk about the best satellite phone. If you want a true satellite phone, I would recommend the Iridium 9555. It gives you global coverage, it's compact, tough, and proven reliable in some of the most remote places on Earth. You get solid voice and text anywhere, which is what counts when everything else is down. The battery lasts a few hours, so bringing a spare is a smart move. For something even tougher, go with the Iridium Extreme. It does everything the 9555 does, but adds GPS tracking, a dedicated SOS button, and a beefed up water and dust resistance. It's bigger and more expensive, but it's built for serious grid down scenarios and emergencies. Now, let's go over the best NOAA or emergency radio. You need one of these for emergency broadcasts. On a budget, go with Foss Power or Iron Snow. I like both of them. They're cheap and easy to find online on Amazon. If you want something more premium, go for Kaito. They make rugged, feature-rich units that professionals swear by. Either way, you'll have up-to-date weather and alert info when it matters most. Now for CB radios, Cobra is still the name to go with. Their handheld and mobile units are reliable, easy to use, and include NOAA weather channels for added utility. CB won't give you the range of ham or... Sorry guys, my phone camera just shut off, I'm not sure why. Okay, so CB won't give you the range of ham or GMRS, but it's a solid backup option, especially for roadside, local, or trucker communications. Okay guys, so prepper communication is more than just about gear. It's about making sure you can stay connected when everyone else is cut off. Start with small, cheap FRS walkie-talkies, then move up to GMRS or ham as your knowledge grows. Always think about power, privacy, and having a solid plan. If you're serious about prepping, don't leave communication for last like everyone else does. Food and water will keep you alive, but communication will make sure you know when to use them and how to stay one step ahead. Alright guys, that's pretty much everything I know about prepper communications and radios. If I missed something, make sure to leave it down below and share your knowledge with us. I'm fairly confident I covered most of the electronic methods. I know people will talk about other non-electronic methods that don't involve power, like delivering notes via courier on horseback like they used to do in the 1800s, using carrier pigeons. That's going to be a complicated one, but that might still be an option. There's also the other electronic method I didn't mention, which would be using drone delivery to drop off letters at different places. But yeah, there's lots to go through. That's pretty much it for this video. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. But yeah, that's everything. Thanks for watching.